Rimuru reincarnated into another world by Kischur. My status. Rimuru Pav. It has been 5 years since I reincarnated into this world, and let me tell you, pretending to be a baby is not fun. Like seriously. Just pretending you aren't a 1,000-year-old genderless person is difficult. And besides that, it is also hard to walk as well, since my bones haven't fully developed yet in those early years. Of course, after turning 3 years old, I was able to acquire some form of freedom for myself, with the only condition I have a maid and a butler, which I didn't mind, since watching my parents when I was a baby, I quickly know they were a doting parents kind, so I didn't even try to resist when they gave me a maid and a butler. Of course, this two are my friends in this castle. Right castle, while it turns out that, not just I was transformed into a girl by Seal, I was also reborn in royalty, more importantly in the royal family of Tempest, or in this case I am a princess of the kingdom of Tempest. Of course, talking with Seal about it, she revealed that I was reborn in a world that has a royal family that goes by Tempest and also a very powerful and smart royal family. The kingdom of Tempest is an old kingdom that has existed by far as 2,000 years ago, making it quite old. The kingdom boasts a strong military and economics compared to this world, and even 10 years more advanced compared to the rest of the world, and the reason? Simple really. The gods. Gods exist in this world, and there are a multitude of them that I don't even bother to remember them, but from what I remember though and read, there are 12 main gods and other lesser gods. From what is said, the gods blessed a chosen few humans to be their apostles in the olden days, and with that the apostles made kingdoms, and Kingdom of Tempest are one of them, being blessed by one of the 12 main gods. Sophia, the goddess of wisdom, economics, military strategy and defensive warfare, politics and kingship. Truly Tempest was blessed to be blessed by her, since from what I read, she out of the every one of the gods is one of the kindest gods to have exist. But despite being called the goddess of wisdom, I am sure Seal would be smarter. Only naturally master. Okay, let's get back to the details and world building. What Sophia blessed my ancestor was enhanced intelligence and wisdom, with that blessing being passed down on the family, making the Tempest family be smarter than any ordinary family, which would is good, since now I can just say that I have a greater blessing than most if I were to surprise anyone of my own intelligence. After the first kingdoms were born, most of the gods manipulated blessed individuals to wage war to the other, for the entertainment of the gods, with the reward of being given a stronger blessing, enhanced physique and the rule of the lower world, which entice most of the kings back then. With that made the war in the whole world, marking by history to be called the Great Holy World War. Tempest at that time, didn't actively fought in the war, just being an uninvolved third party for most. Of course, looking at it objectively, what they did is the correct move, since at that time, Tempest already has a large territory than most of the kingdoms, meaning it would be extremely difficult to defend the whole kingdom, and the Tempest with its higher education system, and with the kingdom knowing the whole territory like the back of its hand, held an advantage in defensive warfare. It is also because of that Tempest didn't lose any land. And can also be called to the winner of the whole world war. Since of course there are kingdoms that gained large amounts of territory. But their military grew weaker because of the enlargement of the kingdom. Of course the kingdoms made their armies larger to secure their new territory. But to enlarge their armies they needed to give a large amount of money to it, making the kingdoms who didn't have the necessary amount, to rise the commoners and noblemen taxes, lower or just outright eliminate such verdicts that clean the streets, or just lower the security in the towns, except for the capital, and of course much more to get enough money to maintain their military. Of course there are kingdoms that were able to completely afford it and not lose much. As for Tempest at that time, the kingdom was so defended that the citizens soon forget about the war. Making the citizens quite more relaxed than the other kingdoms. Of course my ancestor at that time, made the citizens still be aware of the war by making the citizens know what to do if an enemy nation invaded. And because of the war, many nobles at that time, gave enormous amounts of money to the king to go to the kingdom they said. Of course I suspected that they just want to increase their influence and public image to the populace, and also to hopefully have some form of connection to the king. Of course my ancestor used that money to enhance the education system, which made me wonder if he has a fetish for education. Since out of the rulers of Tempest, he is by far the one who promoted the whole education system, and even made it advance to the point of being ahead for 1,000 years, which is impressive to say the least. But that's enough of the past, since currently I'm in Judgment Room, or also called the Analyze Room, since that is also different from the Cardinal Room, Since this world has an interface just like those isekai stories of a status screen, which say your status such as health, mana and even one's physical strength, durability and magic power and such, and even special abilities and titles, and very rarely blessings. The whole room was large, with the only object in the room was the analyze crystal, which floated in the air, with it looking like a massive ball of water. Just ignore Soma and Lissa. Rimuru-chan. When I heard the voice, immediately turned around and saw met with boobs being pressed into by my mother. Sarah Arcadia Tempest. Sarah. Ah, my baby girl, going her first analyses. My baby has grown up, before I could realized it. With that she back away for a few inches and then rubbed her face into mine. I think you should give some space for baby doll to breathe, Sarah. To this Sarah pouted and then looked behind her where the voice came from. Sarah. Come on. Alfred. I am just congratulating my baby girl. Quote. Alfred Arcadia Tempest. My mother then let go of the hug and then started to complain to father, but I know for a fact that father knows I didn't mother to let go of the hug, since my time as a slime, made me relax that I can just breathe in magicules to breathe, but in this case I just used my mana to breathe in air. Alfred. Well, it's about to start. With that mother stopped her complaining to father and then straight away looked at me with proud and loving gaze. Baby doll. Raised you hand towards the orb. With that I copied what father said to me and then the orb glowed. I took a glance at my parents, which they saw and they just nodded at me, meaning that this light was supposed to happen. With that the light glowed more brightly for a few seconds and then a screen appeared in front of me. Do you wish to show it to the others? Or keep it private? With that I just picked yes, since I know my parents are good and wouldn't use me, and I already confirmed this, when I asked Seal about and said that they truly love the family, so I don't really mind showing to them. With that a screen appeared before the orb large enough to show the results in front of everyone. Name. Rimuru Arcadia Tempest. HP. 1000. MP. 100,000. Title. The Envoy of Goddess Sophia and the Princess of Tempest. Stats. Strength. 104. Durability. 89. Speed. 145. Magic. 709. Dexterity. 30. Special abilities. God's Bane. A single point of attack that ignores all forms of defenses to cause harm to the enemy. Blessings. The blessing of Goddess Sophia the Wisdom, to be extremely gifted on acquiring newfound information, but with the goddess fondness of Rimuru, it is enhanced to become extremely talented in everything she does. The blessing of Goddess Amara the Love, to be beautiful by birth and to death, but with the goddess fondness of Rimuru, it is enhanced for her to be destined to be the most beautiful women in the mortal world, and depending on Rimuru's chooses could allow Rimuru to match her as well. The blessing of Goddess Khalida the Fire, to be extremely gifted in the manipulation of fire, but with the goddess fondness of Rimuru, it is enhanced so that fire, except for divine fire, to listen to her wishes and whims.